Hi muckers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing very well. As you can tell, different kind of setup right now, and the reason for that is because I'm currently in LA and I've been doing so much filming while I've been out here. I have been filming podcast interviews and they will all be coming very soon on my YouTube channel. So just know that there is so much really exciting content coming, and yeah, it's been the most incredible trip so far. And I have a really big video today that I need to immediately film, and it's a breaking news story from this news publication where they're literally saying that Las Vegas staff are saying that Mr. Beast should be blacklisted. Okay, see, I don't know where this comes from right here, but at least a little thumbs up every once in a while. It keeps the good vibes going, right? So anyways, that was super random. Didn't really... Ah! Oh my god! Wait, what the fuck? Wow! That's really exciting. I didn't know it did that. Anyways, I know now that I can use that as, like, if I have good news, I'm just gonna go like this. Perfect! What the fuck? So anyways, this news publication has done, quite honestly, the biggest thing anyone has done so far. We now have videos and photos. Okay, please, diva, leave me alone. We now have videos and photos from the Beast games, and we also have so much more information, and it's like, you think it can't get any worse, and then it gets worse, and I just can't believe it. We're going to immediately get into this. So this news publication says, Las Vegas staff say that Mr. Beast should be blacklisted, medic set for failure. Now, this video has leaked right here, and it is the sleeping bags of the Beast games, as you can see right here. These are all the sleeping bags for all the contestants.
Days before Vice President Kamala Harris.
Okay, now we're just getting into Kamala Harris. Now, the thing is, with these working conditions that we're seeing, it looks really brutal. And now we've been hearing that this hasn't been a great situation, but like seeing these photos has just taken it to this whole other level. And I've just been seeing people be like, we've been hearing about this for so long, but now actually seeing these conditions, it's like really alarming. So I have a bunch of photos here from this news article, and again, this is the first time we're really getting an insight into Beast games. So here we're seeing one of the filming, so we're just seeing like how many people are really involved in this right here, and we see people in like sleeping bags and stuff. Here we see everyone's luggage, which looks so unorganized, by the way, like so goddamn unorganized. Like, oh my god, that is just so much. And also, like, they just took on so many people with this, and they really clearly didn't know what to do with that. Here we're seeing a lot of people just sitting about, and they're all wearing these like black ponchos, I guess, that look like just like rubbish bags over them, I guess. I mean, really weird. Here we're seeing the Beast Games filming, which is the first little glimpse that we have seen so far. And we are just seeing the absolute amount of people that are involved in this. Like, there are just so many people. And again, it's like, we're seeing people on the staff be like, you know, they weren't ready for this amount of people and blah, 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 blah. You have $100 million budget. There is no excuse if you're going to bring on this amount of people to not know how to take care of 2,000 people. You decided to bring them. You decided to do what you wanted with the budget. And like, this is only a little glimpse as to how many people are there. And the fact they've been hiding behind this like big, you know, incredibly large, world's largest competition, world's largest game show. It's like, yeah, it's all well and good to be like world's largest, but if you're not properly taking care of these people, then it doesn't matter. All right, here we're seeing another one of the stadiums. So we're seeing a lot of people here, and I think we're seeing sleeping bags right here because they were all sleeping in the stadium allegedly as well. We're just seeing a lot of people, and it's really scary to think of this amount of people being like taken care of by Mr. Beast. So here we're seeing thousands of Slendermen apparently were put in the seats of the arena for the filming. Now, this is really interesting. We're seeing like a breakdown of... I'm like, how is all this leaking? Like, who's leaking all this? Because we've been told about NDAs, allegedly. We've been told about people, you know, being told to be silent. Like, where is all this documentation coming from? And why is it on this big news publication? You know what I mean? So here we're seeing the big stadium. We're seeing crafting or catering, you know, up here. Winners Tunnel, producers, different stations, losers exit, which is crazy to call the people that when they just like don't win. Production offices, psych room, my god. Visitor press room, Jimmy's room, his own little room, wardrobe, trucks, stagehand check-in, media, Air Pro staging. All right, so we're seeing a lot of this. Oh, wow, so many ads on this. And then basically all of the sleeping conditions, right? So that is our first little glimpse into the conditions of Beast Games, which is our first. So let's go through this article. Okay, despite the scope of his YouTube videos, Las Vegas production worker Rick said it was obvious that Mr. Beast's team had never attempted anything to this scale. At production, Jimmy Mr. Beast Donaldson deemed to be the largest reality TV program ever. Now again, that is going to continuously come back and bite him in the ass that he's like, the world's largest, like so big. Like if you're not looking after the people and you're gloating that this is the biggest ever, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. And clearly it already has. All right. Rick described the Beast Games production as beyond embarrassing and would not be surprised if Mr. Beast's team was blacklisted from the industry. We literally have a Las Vegas production worker saying that he will not be surprised that after Beast Games, Mr. Beast's team will be blacklisted from the industry. Production staff and medics, many of whom are Las Vegas based, told News 3, which is the one from this article, that they have worked on various productions in and outside of Nevada. Across their years and decades of experience, they have contributed to box office hits with big-name celebrities, large-scale reality TV shows, and other YouTube productions. So this is painting the picture that they have worked on really big productions, but they've also worked on productions that YouTubers have done, which is their way of saying it doesn't excuse a YouTuber for being unprofessional because they have worked directly with YouTube productions before. As locals, they would often recognize each other from previous projects. They all shared a similar sentiment about the Mr. Beast Games production that they worked on. These ads are crazy! Fed up with foot odor. Learn more. It was by far the most unprofessional production that I've ever been a part of, said Rick, a contestant wrangler who coordinated the contestants during the production. And I think the biggest part of that was the communication was terrible. And again, with $100 million budget, there is no excuses. What is that noise? Okay, the time I started filming this, my neighbor here in LA went, wait, I want to mow the lawn. And you know what? He looks like he's having so much fun, so I can't hate him for that. He really does look like he's having a lot of fun with that. So that diva better enjoy. So again, it's crazy to me just how many people in the industry are speaking out against Beast Games, number one, but just like how many people, even when we've allegedly been told that there's NDAs involved, are now speaking out to the press or speaking out in general. Like, one by one, contestants, production, are all speaking out. And I think it's just painting this picture that overall, this was a really bad place to work. And again, I've said this in every goddamn video about Mr. Beast and Beast Games Productions. How is this going to come out? Like, how is Mr. Beast production, Beast Games, going to come out and people watch it and be like, wow, this is a really interesting and amazing show because we now have production, contestants, everyone, employees being like, this was the worst time of my entire life. Like, it's just a recipe for disaster. And I think it can get worse, and then we have another person speaks out against it. Jimmy Donaldson has the most subscribed YouTube channel, as we know, with more than 317 million subscribers, and is collaborating with Amazon Prime, as we know, to create the biggest competition in game show history. Thousands arrived in Las Vegas to participate in what the production company describes as the inaugural Mr. Beast video for the upcoming reality series. So basically, remember, people were told it was only 1,000 contestants, but then 2,000 showed up, and 1,000 of them were only getting through to the actual game show, and 1,000 of them would just be on a Mr. Beast YouTube video. So people were literally putting themselves out there for literally just a Mr. Beast YouTube video. So again, a lot of this, again, what we're hearing is there is no communication, and there is no excuse for that when you have $100 million budget. Like, we cannot fathom $100 million. Can you imagine having it and choosing not to spend it to hire the right people, to have communication? Like, you could pay people to just do communication and making sure that there's no errors or whatever, but it just seems like this is the cheapest production of all time. And that really makes me be like, wow, a $5 million prize is not the greatest if, what are you doing with the $100 million? Clearly not putting it into a working great environment with great communication and people being treated well. So where is the money going, Jimmy? Where is the money going? All right, okay. So News 3 spoke with nearly 24 people involved. So again, there are so many people in the production of this that are now speaking to the media. Like, how many media outlets have we seen? How many YouTubers have we seen who are interviewing so many people? Like, by the time this comes out, this is getting more and more people per week. We don't even know when this show is coming out. When this show comes out, let me tell you something. When this goddamn show comes out, all of this will be rehashed again, and it'll be 10 times worse because people will be like, this challenge, this was removed from it, or this challenge, this was removed for it. So there's going to be a lot of context there. The same way us now seeing photos and videos is really providing a lot of context. I just cannot see how this show is going to go forward. But apparently it is. We've had no real statements from Jimmy or his team that haven't been wishy-washy, so I don't know. So again, News 3 spoke with nearly 24 people involved in the Beast Games production, many under the condition of being anonymous due to the non-disclosure agreements. And it's also really interesting how many people are still speaking out, but speaking out anonymously because of the NDA, so it's really not stopping people from speaking out. To learn more about how poor management of local production staff led to the chaos, disorganization, and safety issues revealed in a previous News 3 investigation. Some sources agreed to share their accounts under, aliases, or wait, is that the word where you'd say that, under like a fake name? I don't know if I pronounced that word right. What's so funny is me and my friends literally were talking about that concept today, that word, and I'm pretty sure I said it wrong back then as well, and they corrected me, so I can't believe I can't remember it, to protect their identities. The Las Vegas production, which documents state was for YouTube, was a planned episode 0 of Beast Games featuring 2,000 contestants for a chance to be amongst the 1,000 that would be a part of the main Amazon Prime shoot, which again, people allegedly were under this false pretense that all 2,000 would be in the show. So here we're seeing a part of the show again. During the competition, mainly filmed between July 18th and July 21st in Vegas, I think, contestants were required to stay in this stadium field and were provided sleeping bags to rest during the day. The Vegas heat during the day, I don't know if it was open or closed stadium, but oh my god, the air conditioning better have been amazing because Vegas is so hot, and to sleep during the day of Vegas, brutal. Like, brutal. About a dozen portable restrooms were set up on the field to accommodate 2,000, about a dozen for 2,000 people who were limited to the field's, confinements. We had a guy come up to us with his sleeping bag, and his sleeping bag was covered in, wait, hold on. Let me make sure that is what I think it is, but I just want to make sure. It's like feces, okay, so someone came up with their sleeping bag covered in bodily fluids. And said contestant Wrangler, Kara, on the third day of the competition. The contestant had slept near one of the portable restrooms on the stadium field. So the porta potty obviously overflowed, said Kara, who only saw the portable restrooms emptied once throughout the entire production. Now again, this is all alleged, but the fact someone is saying that their sleeping bed was covered in basically either shit or piss or something, and that they're saying that they only saw it being cleaned once or twice, again, this is all alleged, is fucking insane. Is fucking insane. According to Kara, how do you have $1 million budget and you're being accused of this? According to Kara, a Mr. Beast producer offered a contestant Wrangler to clean the mess and threatened termination when the worker expressed reluctance to cleaning this, allegedly. The worker was not provided equipment or training on handling human waste, said Kara, who spoke with the extremely upset worker afterwards. After searching the stadium for protective equipment, she said they found gloves without the producer's guidance. After that incident, Kara said the Mr. Beast producer was reprimanded. They got in trouble for their actions. That's a major violation, OSHA violation, said Kara. You don't ask people to clean porta potties like that. How are we hearing more bad stuff? How are there worse stories than what we know? The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, OSHA, guidelines for cleaning waste during requires employers to provide protective equipment and training for the employee. Before cleanup, employers must perform a job hazard analysis and document the process to determine exposure risk and the level of protection needed to carry out the task safely. Employers must also ensure the employee knows the risks and how to access the protective equipment. And we're being told that wasn't happening, which is just insane. Medics. A lot of stuff changed from what they told us on the first day. And that happened constantly throughout the entire production, said Rick, who, amongst others, had initially believed the production was directly affiliated with Amazon Prime Video, but this was the YouTube video, allegedly. Production worker Jack said that higher-level managerial positions like producers were primarily held by people in Mr. Beast's camp. Local production talent filled the majority of contestant wranglers and talent coordinator positions. Contestants were not allowed to bring any belongings into the stadium, which again is quite crazy. Thus, spare undergarments and nearly all medication were collected and planned to be redistributed during filming. You're literally just taking people's medication and their undergarments away. Why are you taking their underwear away, allegedly? However, contestants reported issues in accessing their medication during filming, which obviously is incredibly dangerous. Production medics on the go were tasked with handling medications, and a community ambulance team provided by the stadium was to respond to the medical issues. This is something completely new, said medic Mona, who worked the 24-hour pharmacy station at the stadium. She and other industry professionals said it was unusual for a production to confiscate and attempt to monitor medication intake to this degree. According to Mona, medics on the go were stationed at the Luxor and Rio before the filming, where most contestants lodged to collect medication. We had no idea that some contestants were at other casinos, said Mona, explaining how some contestants' medication may have been lost. Some contestants not situated at the Rio or Luxor communicated to the pharmaceutical team that production staff had collected their belongings and promised to deliver them to the appropriate department, said Mona. Their stuff was supposed to be turned into us and never was. Now take a moment with that. It never was turned in. Allegedly. When asked about how medication may have been denied or time restricted at the beginning, medic April said, "I don't know why. I did find out the guys in back didn't know all the rules and wouldn't let them come to the pharmacy." April said the team regularly had to remind staff the contestants needed to be allowed 24 access to the station, which is, again, why is that needed to be clarified? Mona said it was unlikely the medic team lost medication as they kept, a meticulous inventory of the medication and other items brought directly to them, lodging the items and their quantity in a list. So basically saying that they wouldn't have been lost. So both sides. It turned out to just be more than medications, because technically, when we first got our original list, we were supposed to have the medication of about 736 people, which is a lot of people, right? And to think that there were more people there than 700, like 2,000 people's medication. Said Mona, who also experienced attempts from contestants informed by production staff to store lotion, Bibles, protein powder, clothes, makeup, and food. We're only supposed to do pharmacy things, and it turned out to be a little more. So again, for some reason, there were not departments for putting your just other stuff, allegedly. Mona assisted in, being an inventory for the medication count that was about double what we were originally, told. There was no communication. Everything was on the fly, said Mona. We didn't have a real understanding of what they expected, or even if they knew what they were expecting. I don't know if it was planned out because all the information was not given. So they're saying, like, we weren't told anything, but we also don't know if the team predicted any of this. Like, maybe they genuinely were just stupid enough that they never thought about anything this deep. But that's not an excuse when you have 2,000 people on the line and $100 million to sort this damn shit out. Contestant wrangler Hannah explains that in a normal production, workers receive a call sheet that informs them of the production schedule, the names and contacts of their coworkers, and other important information. However, no call sheets were provided, which is incredibly not what should happen, incredibly rare. And plans often changed, said Hannah, who felt the team was constantly reacting to complications. Hannah was responsible for guiding and coordinating contestants. Some contestants and medics, not all, reported to News 3 that they received a bare-bones call sheet, but described them as unusual and delayed, which again is just so weird. I'm going to open this window. It's hot as balls in here. Oh, that's a lovely little breeze. I love it. Again, not having a call sheet is incredibly rare, and for a production with $100 million, it is honestly just ridiculous, and there is no reason for it. I don't know how things are continuing to get worse. I felt so unprofessional, said Hannah, who often could not answer questions or direct the contestants to an area that they were meant to be. I should have had more protocols on how to help me do my job. What little schedules were provided were often changed or delayed by hours due to the whims of Mr. Beast and his team. And this is a problem of Amazon giving them too much power. Said Kara. For example, just 2 days before the principal's shooting, Kara said the producers decided to invert the schedule and film the games at night instead of the day, which changes so much to do with like safety. You're filming at nighttime instead of daytime, different schedules, different times, letting people know, and they changed it 2 days before. Like, this is shit that is really, really, really known in advance. Like, in advance. And the fact that they were just on the whim changing it, like, oh, whatever, it's crazy. They had to shoot at night because nobody thought that the fact that you can't control the light in the stadium during the day. Which, why did you not consider that? Literally, a Hollywood production normally film at night or in sound studios so you can control the damn light. Like, how dumb or bad at your job are you? Said Kara, the Mr. Beast team had wanted greater control over the light for the filming purposes, she explained. According to Mona, the lack of schedules was intentional. During a production meeting, Mr. Beast producers informed the medics that Donaldson does not believe in schedules, which is great if he's filming a little YouTube video with the boys, but when you're dealing with 2,000 people, an entire team, not wanting a schedule is a really dumb idea. And it's a really unsafe idea. The producers with Mr. Beast said Mr. Beast does it when he feels like he's ready, recounted Mona, and that's why our schedule kept changing, which again is just ridiculous. Contestants Sally, Rose, and Emily said they were provided regular but frugal meals. The first meal upon arriving at the stadium consisted of 1/4 of a cup of oatmeal, 1 to 2 cucumber slices, 2 baby carrots, a cherry tomato, a boiled egg, and 2 to 3 celery sticks. Keep in mind, these people are performing really vigorous tasks for this show, for Mr. Beast's, production, which ultimately he's profiting from. Mr. Beast was not feeding them or wasn't feeding them enough, said Mona, whose team kept snacks for those who needed food alongside their medication. So people would come to bombard us for snacks. We would have to figure something out because they can't keep coming up to us for snacks. Sally recalled an incident when a man asked production staff for food to eat with his medication. The worker yelled and threatened the man. All right, time to close the window, I guess. All right, hope he enjoys that little. So he wanted food to take alongside his medication. The worker yelled and threatened the man with elimination if he continued to pester her for wanting food to go alongside his medication. I agree that during the period of time for which I'm participating in the above production, I will continue to take any medications or follow any course of treatment correctly or prospectively prescribed to me by my doctors, or that if I decide to change my medications or course of treatment, I will do so at the direction of my doctors. An excerpt from contestant diligent packets. One contestant had a seizure. They just left him there, said Hannah, describing one of the seizure instances. Medical attention wasn't brought to them until nearly an hour later, she said. The community ambulance medical team handled that medical incident. However, Mona said that the community medical team could not be reached in many cases, or that, the medics on the go had to fill in for their responsibilities. Based on her previous collaboration and conversations with them, April and Mona said the community medics were not given the information to... Wow, he's really going crazy. I hope you can hear that. They do that through the night as well, by the way. He's really loud. But again, he really looks like he's having fun, and that's all that matters. Based on previous collaboration and conversations with them... Oh, download is on. April and Mona said the community medics were not given the information to stock or equip themselves for the 2,000 contestants. I remember the first day was someone was like, I need a medic, said contestant wrangler Rick of a different incident. Rick and other wranglers wandered the stadium until they found a stadium worker who could phone the community ambulance medical team. Medic stations had shifted locations a few times during production, so people didn't even allegedly know where to find this damn team. No one told us anything about what to do in that situation, said Rick. We went up to a security guard for the stadium and we were like, hey, is one of your guys medics here? When asked if they knew the protocols to approach a medical instance when filming started, 5 of the 5 production workers said they did not know. When filming began, 4 of the 5 said they did not realize there were 2 medic teams, one for pharmacy and one for incidents. Incidents. You've got it, Adam. The one worker who knew the distinction was not informed of the fact, but summarized it after stumbling into medics on the go and the community ambulance team separately. This is stuff that should be known by everyone months in advance. Mr. Beast producers had forbidden medics from being stationed inside the set, for whatever reasons, even during challenges, because they did not want to ruin the atmosphere. Said April. Employees on the set wore black suits and black masks, resembling figures in the Squid Games, which Jimmy is so goddamn obsessed with for no reason. A South Korean drama that, he's previously drawn inspiration from. And again, what's just really strange about this is how much Jimmy is obsessed with, Squid Games. It's just really, really, really weird. All right. During the first evening of the competition, April said the medics grew concerned as they noticed people were not coming to collect their medication at their doctor's advised times. Medics on the Go was also not getting answers from the producers and were not allowed access to the field, which is so weird, where there are literally all these competitions happening. In response, some medics took initiative and borrowed black costumes to gain access to the field, said April. The medics made announcements to inform contestants and staff the pharmacy was open 24/7. This is things that are really important and should be very clear. According to April, medics on the Go followed every guideline from the Drug Enforcement Administration and the Nevada State Pharmacy Board. Furthermore, medics on the Go provided pill pouches to some contestants. She said the team had informed the Mr. Beast producers that some contestants, depending on their condition, would need their inhalers, EpiPens, and medication by them at all times. Why is this not something that was thought about or taken into consideration once it was brought up? It's bullshit. Here we're seeing all the luggage and stuff. Okay, before we go on to this next part, I am very quickly going to bring a fan in here because it is so hot. I will be right back. This LA heat is not for my little Irish body. I'll be right back. Okay, I literally I probably did a millennial pause, at the start of that. I literally took a 30-minute break because it was so goddamn hot in here. However, the sun is setting now and it's really beautiful, and I've also just realized that I've gotten a bug bite in the time that I sat outside cooling down, which is really great. Anyways, moving along. Unprepared. I've never done a production that was so unprepared. Now, this is just one of many people that have said that this was the most unprepared production ever. Said Kara, no systems in place for anything. It was impossible to get an answer from anyone. Staff members shared stories of disorganization in supplying water, literally supplying water, to staff and contestants, transporting contestants to the venue. So even just getting the contestants there were problems, allegedly. Organizing contestants, attempting to bring outside food and beverages into the, hotels, picking up construction equipment without protection, arranging hospital visits, and more. We're being told there were issues with all of that. After 500 contestants were eliminated in the first round, contestant wranglers were tasked with returning collected undergarments to their owners, said Kara. However, they were not provided with the list of whose belongings needed to be pulled, so basically they were yet again unorganized. It felt as if Mr. Beast producers assumed through osmosis contestant wranglers would magically know who was eliminated in the challenge, said Kara. After multiple requests, a list was provided in the following evening, she said. Undergarments were collected so contestants who were not allowed to bring any belongings into the field could have spares over the principal shooting. And again, I really just don't want us to get normal to the fact that people's undergarments and underwear were allegedly taken off them. For what reason? You can argue medication, in terms of they needed to fact check. It wasn't anything bad, but undergarments is literally just weird and unnecessary. When we found out that we were going to have to deal with this and there was no system in place, it was a nightmare, said Kara, who spent 12 hours organizing the undergarments the day after they were supposed to begin distribution. A producer, alongside an entourage of people in the black costumes because of Squid Games and how cool it is, discovered Kara's team struggling with underwear and assisted in the organization, said Kara. They came over with an attitude at first, I don't know what you expect us to do, which is crazy, said Kara, adding that the producer seemed as confused as they were. We were told to do something without any instructions on how to do it. They collected the undergarments, but did not think about how they would be distributed, organized, or where they would even be stored, she explained. Undergarments were found stored in 2 different locations, and others were not found at all, allegedly, until the production was finished, said Kara. According to April, staff were still finding lost bags containing contestant belongings after the filming concluded and were organizing efforts to mail them to their owners. Take that in for a second, that these people were literally not only not properly getting their stuff, but it was so bad that some people were allegedly not even getting their stuff and it was over in the end. It's so over. Like, there were so many things that I was looking at thinking to myself, wow, there's an easier way to do this, said Kara. However, that would have required forethought and preparation from the producers, she clocked. All right, okay. With mixed messaging from the talent coordinators, Mr. Beast producers, and the medics, Hannah said contestant wranglers had to improvise much of their work. I never understood why they did what they did, said Hannah, one of the direct coordinators. We were always in the blind. When asking producers for details of the transposed filming times, April recalls her team having to explain that they needed information to intake and dispense medication to contestants properly. So not only are they weirdly taking medication, but they don't know allegedly what to do with it, which is a huge problem because people need medication to live. People need medication to protect themselves, to keep themselves healthy, and that's not something that you can be leveraging at all. At fucking all. That's a secret April recalled them telling her initially, which is so goddamn weird. I can confidently tell you they knew the information. They intentionally withheld it from the wranglers, said Jack, describing producer responses laced with verbal irony, suggesting that they had the information, which is a big allegation. All News 3 interviews with local contestant wranglers, coordinators, and medics mention complaints of poor communication, which again is just another time we're hearing this poor communication, from producers and being provided insufficient information to do their jobs effectively. While it is not unusual to make efforts to, migrate the leaks and spoilers, production staff told News 3 that the secrecy at the Las Vegas production was excessive. So obviously, there's a way of keeping things secret so that they don't leak, but when you're not telling people anything, it's a recipe for goddamn disaster. In addition, Rick said staff were not aptly provided with means of communication or information on where to go with questions. In a normal production, you would know exactly where to go and when, be provided with contacts for the different departments, and have a clear understanding of your assignment, said Rick. However, he concluded, that was not the case for the Mr. Beast production. I'm just walking around the giant stadium trying to help where I can, said Rick, who, and by the way, in even small productions with no budget, this is all in weeks in advance. Everyone knows where and when they are and where the departments are. And the fact that in $100 million production, this was not already, it's fucking ridiculous and there's no excuses for it. Would show up to their shifts confused and without direction. So it was kind of show up and help out wherever you can. Rick said that many local production workers quit during the production because of the working conditions for staff and contestants. It sounds like a lawsuit waiting to happen, which obviously we know now that there is a lawsuit, said Jack weeks before the class action lawsuit against Beast Games, not letting anyone have food, water, their medication, which of course is heavily affected by diet as well. One advantage Beast Games seemed to have was the funding, said Rick. Money is tightly regulated in productions, which is why strict filming schedules exist. Beast Games seemed to have an open checkbook, he continued. Rick recalls an instance where they purchased 1,200 some burritos, but had to leave more than 2/3 for waste, which is fucking crazy. Donaldson said the scale and production cost for the Amazon things would surpass the production cost for the YouTube videos, which he estimated to cost an average $3.5 million. North Carolina production company Off One Base LLC designed in documents as the producers of the YouTube prelude stated a total budget of more than $14 million for the YouTube video in the Nevada transferable tax credit application. Donaldson, who makes between $600 to $700 million a year, allegedly, said that money was not a constraint, which again is going to come back and bite him in the ass if you're being stingy with money and you're being like, money's not a constraint. It all looks super legit, super expensive, said Rick of the production equipment and set. No one was worrying about budget on this one. I've definitely been on other gigs where the word budget comes up often and it never came up with this one. So where's the money going? This was made apparent to Rick when he found himself staring at piles of sleeping bags in the stadium conference room. The production had wrapped, and worried that sleeping bags could be wastefully trashed like the burritos, some contestant wranglers took it upon themselves to run carloads of sleeping bags to local shelters, which would have been a thing that most productions would have already wanted anyway, but apparently that was just throw them away and so wasteful, said Rick. But again, isn't Mr. Beast so charitable? Only when the cameras are on, allegedly. All right. It was the plan originally, he said, but no one ever brought it up to the team. According to a 2024 Clark County census, the number of people experiencing homelessness in the county, increased 36% to nearly 8,000 people. So Mr. Beast really should be off camera doing what he says on camera, and the amount of waste here is ridiculous. Oh my god, one of those little robots that, like, you know, does the food deliveries is just driving past. I'm like fangirling. They're so cute. Oh, it nearly hit a tree. You know what I mean? They're like the little things. Oh my god, they're so cute. I've been seeing people like bullying them and like kicking them and stuff, and I'm like, guys, leave them alone. Concerns. According to April, contestants admitted to lying on their medical forms to enter the competition. Contestants and staff shared stories of contestants stealing from each other for personal gain or competitive advantages. In one instance, for example, April said medics had to replace a woman's medication because other contestants had taken her sleeping bags and medications she left inside, which is just fucking insane. But what surprised her most was the age range of the contestants, said April. If they had known their ages beforehand, Medics on the Go would not have approved them for the competition, she said. Earlier in July, Medics on the Go collaborated with doctors stationed nationwide, eliminating applications based on their medical records who they felt could be at risk during the competition, which is very, very standard for a show of this where you're doing these competitions. April said that pharmacy medics learned of the contestants' age when they first visited the pharmacy and shared their ID. Recalling one healthy 82-year-old lady, oh my god, April said she got banged up and scratched up. When it comes to money, people are ruthless, which is just crazy that like 80-year-olds are going through this. Production workers and contestants described challenges which included tug-of-war and sprinting for money as physical events that's catered to young athletic men, which is what Rosanna was talking about, which is the competitions weren't necessarily fair. They were really catered towards fit young men. And you can have all ages involved when it's clearly benefiting or clearly the easiest on one demographic of people, who the majority is anyway. It's unfair. These people were hurting each other. And again, Mr. Beast and his team probably love that because it's great content. They would be like, oh, guys, they probably were like, don't hurt each other. But then when they do, they're like, wow, this is great content. It was like a football game without protection, said Hannah, who recalled watching contestants participate in a challenge from the bleachers. You can hear the bones cracking and falling from up there. Hannah noticed the younger contestants enjoyed themselves but expressed concern for older contestants during the challenges and wondered why they were even allowed to participate. I remember seeing two older ladies in their 60s playing the game, and I'm like, these games are not made for elderly people, she said. Contestant Emily said she initially believed challenges would include cognitive and skills-based challenges, which would be a little bit more fair, or at least a variety. Production company Off One Base LLC wrote in a letter sent to the Nevada Film Office that challenges would involve brains, brawn, and character, which again, if you're doing physical things, it's not really that. In response to a previous News 3 investigation and our ongoing Beast Games coverage, a spokesperson for Mr. Beast provided the following statement. The Mr. Beast production video shoot, which included over 2,000 participants, was unfortunately complicated by the CrowdStrike extreme weather. We've already heard this bullshit over and over again. While the July 19th CrowdStrike outrage affected the production team's ability to coordinate hotels and flights home, Rick said that, to the contestants' understanding, it was not relevant to the other logistical issues of the production, so basically an easy way out. When asked if their communication for feedback extended to local production staff, the representative said they could not comment. Ironic. Best known for his stunt philanthropy, Mr. Beast produces large-scale YouTube videos, and it's basically saying about like all these big videos he does. During one video, people are like winning a lot of money, right? So, and we have one of the big lawsuit right here. Now, we went through this entire lawsuit. It took us a while, but I'm so glad I did it. There is so much in here. So I'd really recommend going back to that video where I went through it all, or just going through it yourself, because I think it gives a lot of context. So a class action lawsuit, as we know, was filed against Mr. Beast. One primary area of the claim is misclassification. They were not treated as employees, said attorney Courtney, representing the plaintiffs in the class action lawsuit. So we've read all this about the lawsuit, basically. So if you've already watched that video, I'm not going to rehash it. But basically, it goes on to say that the 1,000 finalists from the Las Vegas production moved on to compete in the official Amazon Video, Prime Video Beast Games contestant show in Toronto. So obviously the only part I skipped there was all the document of the lawsuit. We went through that extensively, so I'm not going to force you to hear that again. Here's the thing, it's getting worse and worse by the day. We're getting more and more information by the day, and it seems that the more information we get, the worse it is. And it's just like, I keep saying this in these damn videos. At what stage is something going to be actually said or actually done, or a statement or whatever? Like, is this lawsuit going to need to go to its entirety and like play out, and they want it to go to a jury trial? Is Mr. Beast going to allow that? I don't think so. Is this show just going to come out amidst all these contestants, all these production staff, all this speaking out? Like, what is it going to take for some sort of acknowledgement of what the fuck's going on? And again, me and you will watch the show and we'll see all the things that we've been hearing about, and we'll be like, oh, that now makes sense. So it's going to get worse when this damn show comes out. God. I think a great point they brought up was like, we've also worked on other YouTuber productions. They're not all like this. We've worked on big ones as well. They're not all like this. It's literally just Mr. Beast's problem. All right, muckers, I'm going to leave it there. This was an insane article with so much more than we've heard yet. Again, more and more people are just speaking up by the day. All right, I'm going to love and leave you. Please let me know your opinion down below. I appreciate you profusely for being here. Oh, profusely, a big word. I'm going to go and enjoy LA. Hope you're all doing well. I will see you very soon. And yeah, I'm filming so much whenever I'm out here. You're just not seeing it immediately. You'll see it in a week or so. I hope you're all doing very well, and goodbye.